Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Tam O'Shanter, and this is yet another vlog because, once again, for the second night in a row, I am bored. I have this time to kill before work, and I have nothing to do. So, because I can't game or anything like that, and I don't want to get interested in a YouTube rabbit hole, because I already don't want to go to work, so when I find something else that I would rather be doing, it just makes it even worse. So yeah, I'm going to try to have a little more of a goal or an idea in mind in this instead of just flagrant rambling, which is what I was doing yesterday. And I do apologize for the end of my video yesterday if you got to the end of it or if you bothered to. Apparently I shut it off to cough and forgot that I did that, and so the end of the video is whacked off. Basically, at the time, I was talking about the voice actors Nolan North and Troy Baker, and their bit of being prolific and probably two of the best voice actors in the world currently, and probably the most well recognized and well known. They still have, the show still exists. There's a YouTube show called Retro Replay. If you're interested, I don't know if I got that out in the video before I cut off. When Retro Replay first started about 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago, it was Nolan North and Troy Baker in a virtual basement, in a virtual man cave on a couch that wasn't virtual, playing old console games from back in the day. And their witty banter and repartee is basically what made the show a lot of fun to watch. Nolan, especially at first, was not a very good gamer. He was an athlete when he was younger and didn't play video games as much, whereas Troy was a bit better gamer, having not been an athlete and been more of a kid who played more video games. There's also a bit of an age difference there. Nolan is a bit older than Troy by like 8 years or 9 years or something like that. About a decade or so, give or take. Troy has left the show. I guess there was some sort of a falling out or something, which it makes me really sad because they were such good dudes together and had such good chemistry. And I don't know really what happened, but Troy's no longer on the show. The show still exists. Nolan is still doing the show. He's doing a lot of episodes with his son Cooper, who is an actor and is doing a little voice acting as well. And they're still fun. Nolan is a pretty funny guy. He's quick-witted and stuff like that, and I think he embarrasses Cooper quite a lot, as only a parent can embarrass a child. And they also do some things like playthroughs of the Uncharted series, which of course Nolan lended the voice to Nathan Drake for those games, and they're having some of the voice actors and the writers and whatnot come in and either play or do commentary while Nolan plays through the games. So if you're interested in that, the first ones, especially with Troy and Nolan together, I just loved it. I did. I was really sad when it ended, because it was something that I looked forward to, every day of the week. A little ray of happiness. And then it all went away, and it wasn't a little ray of happiness anymore. Or at least it still is, but it's a different little ray of happiness that, the little bubble got burst with some not happiness, and now we're recovering from the unhappiness, as it were. So that YouTube channel is called Retro Replay. So go check them out if you think you're interested in that. They're playing some older games, and they're also playing through like the Uncharted games. And I believe they did The Last of Us as well, with Troy. So go check them guys out. So that's, some stuff that I said at the end of the video that got chopped off because of my coughing fit. I'm a little, if it sounds like I'm banging around a little bit, it's because I'm actually getting dressed while I'm doing this, so I'm having to move around a little bit. But anyways, the topic that I wanted to go on with is kind of the reason that I like the post-apocalyptic games. It's really about just like survival and how what you do. I think, well, at my age now, I don't know how well I would do with it, to be honest. It's kind of a sort of, a post-apocalyptic situation is basically a survival of the fittest. So if you have any health problems at all, you're in really serious trouble. I mean, stuff that you take medication for that is easily controllable in this day and age. If civilization goes down, people with those sorts of conditions are not going to do well. And this all really came to me one day. I mean, it didn't really come to me. I was thinking about it before, but the first time I really explained it to somebody, because I've done that twice now, was to our former janitor. He watched The Walking Dead, as did I, and we had differing opinions on Negan. I enjoy the shit out of Negan. Negan is my kind of guy. And the reason for that is he's fucking hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious. Funny as shit. He's very charismatic. He's not a psychopath or a sociopath. He's an opportunist, and then obviously one that can be extremely brutal. Which, brutal kind of works in a post-apocalyptic world, but he's also extremely smart. The group in The Walking Dead, the hero group, was used to coming in and just, running Mad Hat over any other group that they came into, outsmart, outlast, outfight, outplay, blah, 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 blah. And then they ran into Negan, and their winning pretty much came to an end. And they did win in the end, obviously. They finally did outsmart him, but he's gone on now to, I don't know if anybody reads the graphic novels or watches the show, but he's gone on to, at least in the TV show, to outsmart the Whisperers and all of that kind of fun stuff. So I like him as a collectively. I think he has a lot of good qualities and redeeming qualities, and there are good sides to him, even though he can be obviously extremely brutal. He likes children. He relates well to children. He doesn't harm children. He actually seems to be very protective and care quite a lot about them. But so we were having a discussion about that with my janitor and I, my janitor from work, and he couldn't understand why people would willingly put themselves under the control of someone like Negan, who, okay, so he's providing for them to a degree, but they're also working their asses off while he doesn't do anything because he's like the king or whatever, the ruler for sure. He, has terrible, terrible and brutal punishments for the breaking of his rules, and all that kind of stuff. And our janitor for our building was like, I don't get it. Why would you do that? Why would normal, everyday people submit themselves and become submissive to someone who is, so not right on a lot of levels? and is a dictator and is extremely brutal in the way he goes about some things. And my answer was that most people wouldn't have a choice. Um, if you look at reality, and the reality of what we as human beings have become, especially in civilized or first world, or however you industrialize, whatever catchphrase you want to use to describe the U.S., Canada, the UK, France, Germany, the Scandinavian countries, etc., and so forth. Those countries, whatever phrase you want to use, first world, whatever. The people, I'll just use the United States because this is where I live. People are now, and have been for some time, incredibly soft. The most of the people, I'm going to guess, most of the denizens of the United States live in urban settings, in large cities. My state doesn't even have as many people, which my state is an rural agricultural state. Most proper cities have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times the amount of people living in the city than live in my entire state. People who are, let's say, as an older person now, as somebody who's 56 and whose body is starting to betray them in terrible, terrible ways, I have the capability of sustaining myself. The problem is, what kind of, it wouldn't be so much as could I take care of me without outside influences. Yes, I know how to hunt. I have hunted my entire life. I know how to fish. I've done that my entire life. I know how to skin out things, gut animals, clean animals. We say cleaning. I don't know what other people would be using. Clean them, prepare them, wild game, cook them. I know how to build shelters. I know how to do basic survival. I'm not fucking Bear Grylls or somebody, and to be honest, neither is Bear Grylls, but that's another topic altogether. I'm not like a proper survivalist that goes out and lives in the woods forever. I've just had some experience. I have a generally, basically decent idea of the things that I need to do to survive, which is why watching some people play survival games drives me crazy. Like in the Myth Survival, people running around at the very beginning of the game and picking up sticks and rocks and leaves. I'm like, what are you doing? Pick up food and go find a place to live. What are you fucking doing with sticks and rocks? Oh my god. But I digress. Most people in the world do not know how, or just generally incapable, or just too squeamish to hunt, kill, clean, and prepare their own food from the wild. So there's that. There's fear. There's a lot of things, and there's a lot of handguns and a lot of guns in the United States, but how many people actually know how to use them properly and know how to use them to get food for themselves? They might know how to. Anybody can shoot somebody with a gun. That's not hard, but stalking down a deer and killing them, which you're not going to do with a handgun. Well, you can hurt them, but you're going to end up chasing them all over the place and probably losing them. Don't hunt deer with a handgun. Just that kind of thing. So that was like my first thing, is that talking to our janitor, is that the majority of people aren't capable of taking care of themselves in a post-apocalyptic world. The current denizens of this, citizens of this country, for the most part, are too soft for that. They don't have any experience in it. their parents don't have any experience in it. There's They have no experience in rural places, and if you're in the city when some post-apocalyptic shit comes down, your chances of survival anyway are a lot slimmer. Just because there's so much population, you're going to be fighting everyone for everything, and it is going to be definitely survival of the fittest. If you are not capable of defending yourself in some way or fashion, you're going to end up on the victims list, because that's how life works quite frequently. And then, so that was pretty much, and he was still thinking that, nah, he probably wouldn't do that. And I'm thinking, yeah, you probably would, because you're like in your 60s, you've got some health problems. I did find out recently, as just as an aside, that the guy he's since retired and now has cancer. So I hope he's doing okay. I haven't seen him since then, but a coworker had run into him in a grocery store, and he had it told them that he had, not long after he'd retired, he'd gotten diagnosed with cancer. So I hope the dude's okay. So he's, a nice enough dude and everything. And you hate for that to happen. But then past that conversation with him, a lot of people don't realize, because it's not really I mean, to some degree, The Walking Dead has addressed it, like with Ezekiel now, who has the thyroid cancer. That's a completely, treatable, curable cancer. It's like at a 98% cure rate or survivability rate or whatever. But that's because we have medicine and doctors and hospitals. And, this guy in this show, Ezekiel, is going to die from something that in our current world he would have been nothing would have happened to him. He would have got diagnosed, he would have got it fixed, and he would have been on his merry way. So, when you're talking about the survival of people, the people that aren't going to make it, and there's a really long list, and I don't think people really ever think about how comprehensive the actual list of people who are going to die shortly after some sort of global or, apocalyptic situation, whether it's a fictional type zombie deal or a more realistic, something goes horribly wrong one, and everything goes to shit. Everyone that takes a medication to survive is going to die. Diabetics, people who have bad asthma, people who have epilepsy, especially if it's bad epilepsy, people with hypertension, obviously people with cancer are they're all going to die, some more slowly than others and some a little more quickly. Even as I said, if it's a cancer that's under normal situations and normal whatever, like now, would not die from like thyroid cancer or whatever. Die. Everybody who has cancer is going to die. Your people, if it's some sort of even, oh, well, not even that. Let's go. Your people who require oxygen, people who require respirators, so your ventilator-dependent quadriplegics who would probably die anyway, eventually. If you need any kind of feeding tube, anything like that, all those people are going to die. Now, if you're talking about a situation like a missed survival situation or any kind of a zombie-ish type situation, you can throw in anybody who's infirm. The elderly are going to die. The mentally handicapped people, I always want to say mentally retarded, but people get mad when you call them mentally retarded now. That's the term that we used when I was a kid. They're not mentally retarded. Well, technically, if you look at the dictionary, yeah, they sort of are, but Developmentally delayed. I think that's the current term we use. Your kids with Down syndrome, you're otherwise mentally slower or whatever, developmentally delayed people are going to die or need to be, gosh, I hate to say need to be killed, but um, if you have a situation where the zombies go aggro and you draw them to you with noise, uh, that's not good for the autistics or anybody with any diminished mental capacity who might be loud. Um, Gosh, I just now thought about what do you got? The Tourette's people would be in a hell of a way, wouldn't they? Any of those kind of people if they don't die outright, they're going to be at risk. The blind, obviously, they're good, I guess, as long as there's somebody there to make sure they get where they're going. The deaf, they do have deaf people on The Walking Dead, but you still need to be with people who can hear, especially if you're talking about a zombie-esque situation where you're going to get got. But the amount of people who would perish immediately, either from illnesses that are currently easily remedied, and that kind of thing, to more physical things. My personal thing, if it was like a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to be in trouble because physically there are things that I just can't do anymore. I can wrestle. I can wrestle until the cows come home. I will throw fists and fight with anybody, even still today. That's actually something that I'm naturally good at. And it doesn't make me tired. I can literally grapple all day long. And I have been in some hellish grappling contests with some very angry youth in the past. I haven't done anything recently, but I've been in some hella battles that yeah, we're like crazy. One, just quick one. I worked at a group home before I worked at my job now for at-risk and delinquent boys, and we had a boy there. I really liked the boy. I will call him. Well, I'll just say his actual name because he's like probably 30 or about 40 years old now, so I guess it doesn't matter. He's not really a juvenile anymore. His name was Jermaine. He was a young black boy. I think he was 16. He was about 6'1", 6'2", probably 190 to 200 pounds. And he was one of those young teenage boys who was ripped muscular to the point of, I think his muscles had muscles. The kid was a physical specimen. Like, wow. Muscular, defined, cut, physique, very strong. And he wasn't a gangbanger or any of that, which a lot of our kids were. He just had a terrible, terrible, terrible temper. If he wasn't angry, he was like the coolest kid, hard worker. We lived on an old, the group home was on an old college campus, so it was a large campus area, and we had kids mowing the lawn, boys mowing the lawn, and the other boys, would mow for about 20 minutes. It's summertime, it's hot as shit outside. They would stop every 15, 20 minutes, rest, get a drink of water, and I physically had to stop Jermaine from mowing the lawn because he didn't stop. Whenever these other people were taking breaks, he was still mowing and mowing and mowing and mowing and mowing, and sweat is just running. I'm like, okay, it's really hot outside, and you need to get in the shade for a little while, stop pushing that mower, and have some water so you don't drop out. So yeah, I mean, he was a good kid, and then when he was angry, he was an absolute force to be reckoned with. So Jermaine got into a little bickering contest with his roommate when we were in like a commons room, a day room. And I knew this was going to boil over because he was, like I said, once he was angry. There was no reasoning with him, no, because we had a good relationship. I had a good rapport and a good relationship with him. But, even I couldn't get through to him when he was pissed. And he was pissed at his roommate. And when we went upstairs to their rooms, I followed Jermaine and his roommate into their room because I knew some shit was going to get started. And I kept telling his roommate, stop talking to him. Just because the roommate's kind of, doing the, why are you so mad at me? Why are you so upset? And I didn't say that bad. I didn't mean to make you so upset. And I'm just like, dude, stop talking to him. You're just making it worse. And this kid was 14, so trying to get him to shut up while I'm trying to keep Jermaine from fucking losing his shit. Yeah. So I didn't keep him from losing his shit, and a wrestling match breaks out. Okay, I don't see him come up because I'm busy dealing with his roommate. So I had a little bit of tunnel vision. I didn't see him coming for the kid. He was behind me. Another staff, who was a male staff, jumped in and got Jermaine, and we got him pushed over to the bed, but the male staff was easily overpowered. He was a little bit smaller than Jermaine, actually quite a bit smaller than Jermaine. And so I, obviously left his roommate and hopped on board to the grappling contest. We got Jermaine onto his bed, perpendicular. He was laying across the bed, perpendicular, and he had reached underneath the bed on the far side and grabbed the hold of the frame. So we're trying to get him off the bed onto the floor because it's just easier to restrain somebody to the floor. And Jesus Christ, that boy is strong. We finally got him off and got him on the floor, and he's on his belly. And I have him in some strange, I don't even know, like half Nelson thing going on, and I have literally, because he's so strong, there was a female staff that came in and was trying to lay on his legs, and I remember he's laying on his belly, and he was just flipping her off of him from the knees from the knees down, like she didn't weigh anything. He was so strong, and it was like crazy. So I'm like, I get him a hold of him, and I'm like, I climb with my legs up the bed, so I am like planking across from the bed where my feet are, my shins are, and then the rest of my upper body is on his shoulders, high on his shoulder, not behind him, but high up on his shoulders, so that I could keep him physically pinned to the ground. And I was doing as much as I could to put as much pressure on his upper back and his shoulder area, that area, to keep him stuck to the ground because he was so fucking strong. And I was using as much leverage as I could to keep him getting there. We fought with him. This is in a third floor of an unair conditioned building when it's like 98 degrees outside. We fought with him for probably 2 hours before we wore him out. When I was finally able to let him go, because they tried to break me and put somebody else in there, and I was like, no, I am not letting go of this kid. If I let go of the kid and try to get off and somebody else tries to take over, we're going to have to fight. We're going to end up fighting with him again. Right now we've got him on the ground, and he's resisting, but he can't fight because he's stuck to the ground. And so I refused. So the whole time I am using all the forces of my body to keep this kid on the ground. When I got up, I was completely soaked. Between my sweat and his sweat, my shirt I could wring sweat out of my shirt. I drank probably 40 gallons of water because I was so thirsty. And my arms were like noodles. Because I held on to this kid for so long that when I was getting water, I could barely lift the glass up because I was so spent. I easily took control of the situation and took control of a kid who was much, much stronger than me. because I am naturally good at fighting and grappling. Not fighting, fist fighting. I can fist fight. I've boxed. I had a neighbor that boxed when I was a kid. It was a silver, and golden gloves champion boxer, and so I did learn how to box when I was young. But yeah, this kid was strong. So I'm good at boxing and like no, not boxing, wrestling, grappling naturally. But my body is old because I was an athlete who participated in every sport known to man that was available to me at the time in the 70s. I played football, I wrestled, I boxed, I played baseball with boys, softball with girls, played basketball with boys and girls. Um, I ran track. I skateboarded. I raced BMX bikes. Well, I didn't race them proper. We went out to the track a couple of times, but I could never get my parents into that whole "you need to take me to the track to compete" kind of thing. Um, but we had our own little track in the neighborhood, and so we did a lot of that. Rode motorcycles, hunted, fished, all these kind of things. And as a result, at the age of 56, most of my joints are in really bad shape. My ankles are toast. My knees are very bad. Um, both of my shoulders. One shoulder was injured in a car accident. It's much better because I had it surgically repaired. The other one is not so good. My elbows, obviously, I have problems with severe tendonitis. I just had a surgical procedure. I do need to have the other one done as well at some point in time. My thumbs are actually deformed from arthritis. That's fun. Some of my fingers don't bend all the way because they've been broken or broken and not treated. Because, like I said before, when I'm sick, I'm a big baby, but when I break or cut things off, it's kind of like, oh well, 'tis but a scratch. And I don't really worry about that kind of thing. So some of my fingers don't bend all the way anymore because they've been either jammed very badly or been broken at some point in time. Um, so I'm overweight, I'm old, I have janky joints. The only joints in my body that don't cause me problems are my hips and my spine, and I guess I should be glad for that because a lot of people my age have back problems, and my back is strong as hell. I can never had problems with my back. Um, but yeah, all the other all the other joints don't work anymore. I have arthritis in my toes, for fuck's sake. My feet hurt. I have plantar fasciitis for, I mean, just a bunch of shit. So, me surviving in a survival of the fittest kind of situation. Um, Probably not by myself, with a group perhaps. But, I'm not running away from anybody. I'm not much of a runner away from things anyway, but even if I had to, I'm just there's no physical capability. I could run for a while, but then I'd either end up injuring one of those joints that's on its last limbs, or I'd get really tired and winded, or I'd have a fucking heart attack, or stroke out, or some other bullshit. So yeah, and the reason I like to play these games is it's kind of like I don't know. It's like what I would do if I were in that situation and were physically capable, because obviously I'm not any longer um, capable of the mayhem that one would um, be involved in one, especially in like a missed survival situation or uh, any of the zombie type things, like a Walking Dead situation or anything like that. Subsistence would be a little better because you do have some hunters. They're not like zombies; they're just people. So, as long as you have a good house and, you're good with a weapon and you're smarter than the average bear maybe a little bit, or cunning at least, because, smart and cunning are not necessarily the same thing. It's kind of like a college degree doesn't make you a smart person. Um, Yeah, so yeah, that's why I like playing these games. I mean, it's kind of like a how I would do if I were me, and I'm playing logically. Like I said in Myth Survival, I don't understand the people who run around and pick up sticks and rocks at the beginning of the game when you have so little inventory space. Because that's not what I would do in real life. Why would I run around and pick up sticks and rocks? I'm going to be looking for sustenance, food, water, shelter. That's what I'm going to be looking for. A place to live, hang my hat, some food so I don't die, and even more pressing is water because you only survive about, what, 3 days without water. So that would be those would be what I would be looking for. I wouldn't be running around in the yard picking up sticks. Ooh, look, I have found a branch. Oh, look, a leaf. I mean, really, who would do that? That makes no sense to me. Um, I know everybody plays different, and I probably do some stuff that other people in the games missed, and subsistence and whatnot, that people are just like, what the fuck is this person doing? Why are they doing that? That makes no sense. I'm sure that is happening. It makes sense to me, and I am a logical thinker, so I'm hoping that the things I do make sense to other people. It's not just me that, that I'm, it's not just me that thinks it's logical. There's some other people going, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah. And my alarm has gone off, so it's really kind of time for me to wrap this up. I'm also getting very thirsty. And hopefully my mic's been on this whole time. It seems to be. And I didn't have to cough on you guys or anything. I don't know what the problem was. I got a tickle yesterday, and oh, wait, Jesus, if I could make it stop. Very annoying. Also, it's getting cold now. There's also like lots of allergy triggers at my house. My sycamore tree that fell on my neighbor's house, they cut some of that up off of their house the other day, and the wind was blowing, and I'm allergic to that fucking tree. So is my mom. Uh, just dragging the branches after the storm made me vomit. I got so sick from stuff from allergies that I literally did that for about 30-40 minutes, got inside the house, made it to the back landing, and started puking because of an allergy. That's fantastic. So when I say my allergies are trying to kill me, I'm not fucking playing. So yeah, they were sawing on that tree a little bit, and the wind has also been a little bit I think obnoxious is a good word for it. It's been kind of blowy. It's been a bit blowy, and so, it's blowing around all the allergens in the air. They're going to be starting to combine here soon, so there's going to be dust and all kinds of other crazy shit. I hate these allergy things. I don't know why I decided to have them. It's really stupid. So anyways, I really do have to go. It is about 5 minutes since my alarm went off. A video should be up right now of Myth Survival Season 2, Episode 6, I believe. So I'm going to pop this one up and get it ready to go. And if you've joined me, thanks for hanging out and helping me not die from boredom. Although if you don't listen, it really doesn't make any difference because I've had something to do for 30 minutes. If you brave to listen for this or not. Shouldn't have talked about the allergies, and now I got a cough. But anyway, I do have to go. So if you manage to come and hang out again on another ridiculously long and boring, I'm sure, vlog, thanks. I need to do something to kill my boredom. You all be good, be kind, be safe, wear your masks, and all of that fun stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.